Hi guys, welcome back to Wentworth Light, the channel that talks all things Wentworth. If this is your first time here and you love Wentworth, then what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button right now. All my links to my social media accounts are underneath this video, and if you stick around until the end of the video, I will be responding to some of your comments from my previous video. So guys, how we all doing? I tell you what, it is absolutely roasting in the UK right now. We are currently in the middle of a heat wave, and no word of a lie guys, it is absolutely roasting. Anyway, when I woke up this morning, I was greeted with a lovely video on my social media, a new Wentworth trailer, and my god guys, it's really blown my mind. I literally had to watch it like a few times on my phone just to see everything that was happening, because the trailer is around 1 minute long and they have thrown quite a few things into this trailer. At one point I even slowed the trailer down because it's one of those videos where literally if you blink you will miss something. The cast and crew have all been saying that the fans are going to lose their minds when they see it. Well, I can tell you now guys, I am already halfway there. So anyway, let's take a much closer look at this trailer. Let's pick it apart and see what's happening, and then let's speculate about why these things are happening. Now don't forget guys, my videos quite often have spoilers, and this video is no exception, because I'm going to be talking about spoilers not just from this trailer, but some spoilers from some of my older videos. So if you've been trying to avoid spoilers like the plague recently, then you better not watch any further. Okay then, so in this trailer there are some clips from the new season, but there are also clips playing in the background from older seasons. Now I'm not surprised that Foxtel have done this with the trailer, because they did something very similar with the season 7 trailers, because they originally thought that season 7 was the final season, because it was at that point. So I was kind of expecting to have a bit of a mishmash of old clips in this trailer. Also in the trailer we seem to have promotional clips of the cast just walking around on screen while these old clips are playing in the background. For example, when the trailer begins, we have Mari Winter walking towards the camera looking down at the floor before then looking up at the camera, and while she is doing this, in the background we have an old clip of Ferguson screaming when she was buried alive in season 5, and we also see the moment where baby Grace was born. So there's quite a lot of a mashup going on in this trailer. The first thing that I want to talk about is that in the trailer there are a few lines being spoken in the background, and this is what is said. The path that you're on leads to war. A lot of people we know will end up dead. Now when I first heard this, I was thinking, who the hell is saying this? And then it cuts to Lou Kelly finishing the sentence by saying, is that something you want? And if you look closely, it looks like that Lou is saying this to Rita Connors. I mean look, it looks like Rita's hair and denim jacket, so wow. Let's just take a little moment to let that sink in. Lou Kelly is telling Rita that the path that she is on leads to war, and a lot of people that they both know will end up dead. So this is literally like, what the hell is going on? So my guess from this is that when Rita does come back into Wentworth, she is of course going to team up with Boomer Ali and all of her old friends, maybe against Lou Kelly. But of course the number one person who Rita will really want to protect is Ruby. But if Rita does finally step up to help protect the women, then it's about bloody time. We've all wanted to see this for such a long time, and we've all wanted to see Rita turn badass again. Now with Lou telling Rita that the path that she's on leads to war, gives me a little bit of bad vibes for Ruby Mitchell. I've said this before, but I do think that poor Ruby will end up dead this season. They definitely have something planned, and it's going to then play a bigger part into this war that Lou Kelly is talking about. Now in one of my previous videos it was revealed that Reb Keane is going to be murdered in the first episode. Now I've got an awful feeling that Lou is going to think that it was Ali's crew who killed Reb in retaliation to Ali thinking that it was Lou who stabbed her, which is then going to contribute to this war. It then wouldn't surprise me if it's actually Judy who's going to kill Ruby, but frames Lou for it, adding even more dangerous fuel onto this fire. And if you think about it, this is what Judy is all about. She is a terrorist and she wants to create terror and mayhem. So all hell is definitely going to break loose. However, if you look at this another way, when Lou tells Rita about the path leading to war, maybe Lou is actually not threatening Rita at this point. Maybe she teams up with Rita. I mean, if they both lose the one person in their lives who they love the most, then maybe they will actually team up. The fantastic thing with Lou Kelly is that you can't tell in this scene whether or not if she is being threatening or not to Rita. So it could go either way. But for me, I'm just really happy to see Rita back. Now, there's also another part in the trailer where we can hear someone talking, and what is being said is, "You should be more scared of me than you are of Lou." Now, I literally cannot work out who is saying this line. I've even tried listening to it with headphones on. Now, for me, personally, it's a toss-up between two people. It's either Rita or its new character, Eve Wilder. And I'll be honest with you, it actually does sound like the new character, Eve Wilder, played by Tina Bursill. Because Tina Bursill, who's going to be playing Eve Wilder, was also in Prisoner Cell Block H. And I recognise the voice straight away. But I'm not ruling out that it could also be Rita. I'm just more leaning towards Eve Wilder at this stage. I can't imagine Rita saying this line to anyone in particular. I mean, who would Rita say this to? I mean, Rita knows most of the characters in that prison. I mean, Rita wouldn't say this to Mari because they already know each other, and Mari already knows what Rita can be capable of. So I think it's Eve Wilder, as she doesn't know anyone in the prison, and it sounds like more of a feasible line if she is saying it to someone. But what do you guys think? Do we have some fans here who also love Prisoner Cell Block H? Go back and listen to that line and let me know if you think it sounds like Tina Bursill from Prisoner. Now, let's talk about that scene that we've already had a little glimpse of before. Ferguson running through the yard with a huge kitchen knife. Now, in this trailer, a little bit more was revealed. So as Joan is running through the yard with the knife, we see her running towards Mr. Jackson with his back turned, and he slowly turns around just as she gets closer to him, but that's all we see. But interestingly though, just before this scene comes onto the trailer, we see Linda pulling out her baton, and it does look like that she's heading for the yard. So maybe Linda gets a tip-off that Joan has this knife and is on her way to stop her. In my previous video, I came up with this theory that maybe Linda will get caught in the crossfire during this scene, and she will be the one who ends up fatally stabbed. And after seeing this in today's trailer, I am gonna stand by that theory. And while we're on the subject of Linda, let's quickly move on to this scene. So we have Judy chained up in the prison while Anne Reynolds is beating her with a baton, and Linda Miles is just standing there watching. Now, I have no sympathy for Judy in this scene. In fact, I am totally team Anne Reynolds when it comes to their personal feud. But I have a horrible feeling that Linda is she's getting in too deep now. She had the chance to seek help with Dr. Miller to sort her head out after the siege last year, but she didn't take it. Linda has decided to take the path of being tougher with the women, and now that she has teamed up with Anne Reynolds, I just don't see there will be any way coming back for Linda now. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if during this scene, Anne Reynolds actually orders Linda to beat Judy with her. Like, come on Linda, beat Judy with me a couple of times. But what we have to do here, guys, is we do have to look at the bigger picture, because even though that we don't like Judy after what she did to Addie, Anne Reynolds is seriously crossing the line here. I mean, she is actually committing a crime, and if she's capable of chaining Judy to a wall and then beating her, what else is she capable of? Not only that, what's to stop her doing this to another character who we all love? So in this scene, I reckon Anne Reynolds has found out that it was Judy who bashed her in the last season, and Anne is taking her own revenge. It wouldn't surprise me if we actually get a proper fight scene between Judy and Anne Reynolds before the season ends, because I think this feud is going to be absolutely deadly. We then move on to another scene where Judy is running out in the yard, and it looks like that Judy is running at Lou Kelly, but Lou literally just gets up out of the way and Judy just goes down. I don't know whether if Judy trips over or if Lou pushes her out of the way, but I think this could happen just after Anne Reynolds has beaten her, and Judy will then think that Lou has lagged to Anne Reynolds, and Judy will lose her shit and go for Lou in the yard. However, I can't see Judy beating Lou in a fight. I think Judy might have bitten off more than she can chew on this one. However, I do have a feeling that Judy will blow Lou's cover about the lagging to Linda and working with Anne Reynolds, and this might not work in Lou's favour when the women find out. Also in this scene, I noticed Sheila in the background. Now apparently Sheila is only going to be in the first 2 or maybe 3 episodes. So this scene with Judy running into the yard must happen early on in the season, but I then looked even closer and look guys, Reb is there next to Lou. So this must happen in the first episode, because if the spoilers are true then Reb does die in episode 1. It will probably be the final scene of episode 1 when Lou will probably find her one true love dead on the floor. But after seeing Judy running at Lou, I have a feeling that it could 100% be Judy who murders Reb in revenge of Lou lagging to Anne Reynolds. And I tell you what, when Lou finds out that it was Judy, Lou will literally rip her apart. Of course though, the writers are very clever with their twists and turns, so this might just be a big red herring and it could actually be someone else who kills Reb. Who knows? Now then, Mari Winter seems to be going through hell again if these previews have got anything to go by. So at one point in the trailer we see Boomer slamming Mari up against the wall, but if you look closely it doesn't only look like just Boomer. Boomer is wearing her usual sleeveless t-shirt, but there is someone there with Teal also grabbing Mari by the neck. Now we do hear Mari screaming out Ali, no, please. In the same scene but in a different part of the trailer, we then see a noose around Mari's neck being pulled, with Mari screaming, and Boomer is still in this particular scene. So why is this even happening? Something must happen because Ali pretty much tortured Mari last season, but by the end of last season, just before Ali did get stabbed, Ali sat down and she had a conversation with Mari, and while I don't think these two will ever get back together, there seemed to finally be some common ground happening between these two characters. So this is making me wonder, why is Mari getting lynched in the shower block? Now when Ali got stabbed last year and opened her eyes, she saw Lou Kelly. So I don't think Mari getting lynched and hanged by the women has got anything to do with Ali being stabbed. Unless of course Lou turns the tables somehow and gets herself a fake alibi, and maybe it will turn out that Mari is the only one who doesn't have an alibi, who knows. But I have a feeling the women are lynching Mari for a whole other reason. Something that hasn't happened yet. Now remember when I said I think Ruby is going to be killed off this year? Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Mari gets the blame, especially if Judy plants the seeds to Ali and Rita. So could this be Mari's fate in the new season? Will Mari be wrongly executed? It would be awful to actually see this happen. I would rather see Mari die trying to protect someone like maybe Reb or maybe even Ali. I really don't want to see the women kill Mari for something Judy did. But also, I don't think the writers would have included this clip in the trailer if this was going to be Mari's final scene. They never show death scenes in trailers. They keep things like that under their belt, so maybe Mari will get lynched and she will get hanged, but she will survive. It's interesting to see Reb screaming after Mari screams in this scene, but I'm not 100% sure that this has any relevance to each other's storylines if I'm honest. I think they only put this scene of Reb screaming in because Reb is going to die in episode 1. Also guys, look at Boomer go. She definitely looks like she means business this year. It has been reported that when the new season begins, Ali puts Boomer in the top dog seat because when Ali returns, she is going to be in a wheelchair. So maybe we are going to see a very tough side to Boomer this year. And speaking of Ali, there is a very small clip of Ali screaming as well. Now I have no idea what's happening here, but I did see someone comment saying that maybe Lou is chopping off Ali's fingers, which would be pretty brutal. But I tell you what guys, I can see this happening. Don't forget guys, with Reb out of the way for most of this season, Lou is going to be unleashed with nobody to calm her down. However, whose arm is this in this scene? It looks like a male character and I think it could be Dr. Miller. So maybe this is actually Ali trying to hurt herself. Maybe she's had enough and she tries to kill herself in the shower block. Whatever happens, I have been told that Kate Jenkinson puts in the performance of her life this year, so it's going to be very exciting. Another part of the trailer, we see Vera with an officer in the shower block, and Vera has her mouth open. So what the hell have they found in the shower block? Could this maybe be the moment where they find Mari hanging, or could it be something a lot more worse? Now there is a very alarming scene that just makes me kind of nervous, but we actually have a hand coming out of a freezer. Yes, a freezer. Now this is actually mental. Who the hell ends up in a freezer? Now I've actually been rewatching this little clip over and over, and I've actually got a few questions. Like, first of all, these freezers have got locks. Why do they have locks? I don't know any chest freezers that have these type of locks. Not only that, but isn't this actually a bit of a security risk having something like this in the prison? Because surely someone could be attacked and then locked in the freezer, which is what I'm sure is what's gonna happen. Also, I'm not even 100% sure that this is even in the prison. I did see someone comment on Twitter earlier where someone said that this could actually be in a morgue. Now I can't, I shouldn't laugh, should I? But it does sound like something crazy that could happen in Wentworth, I don't know. But I'm not too sure. You do see a little bit of blood go onto the side of the freezer as the hand comes over. So whoever this person is, they are injured, or maybe they've cut themselves trying to bust the lock open. But who is it in this freezer? And who even put this person in the freezer? What I did notice that it's someone wearing a white short sleeve top, and the only person who I've seen in the trailer with one of these tops is Boomer. Yes guys, I said it, but it could be Boomer. I really hope I'm wrong, but it could be. I'm actually really worried about with what's happening in this scene. However, even if it is Boomer, at the very end of this trailer, we see Boomer walking alone in the distance. I really hope that this is a hint that Boomer is going to be the last person standing, or maybe she escapes and manages to get away from all the carnage happening at the prison. I just really hope our Boomer gets some sort of a happy ending, but of course I know it's not going to be all plain sailing for her. I noticed as well that in one of those background clips we see Joan and Sheila together. I think that this could be a sign that maybe these two will team up at the start of the season. We also have a body bag being carried out of the prison. Now, I first initially thought that this was just an old clip used from an old season, but I looked a bit more closely and I actually do not recognize this scene from any previous seasons. It looks like the body is being carried out of the library. Now, I can't remember ever seeing this happen. What do you guys think about this? Do any of you recognize this from an old season? Let me know, because I've got a feeling that this is a scene that hasn't happened yet. And if it hasn't happened, who is in this body bag? In this part of the trailer, we see Lou Kelly standing in the dark with circles of barbed wire behind her. Now, I think this could be a foreshadowing of Lou Kelly trying to escape at night time, because as we've all seen, there were some behind the scene photos of Lou and Rita by the fence at night time. In another part, we see Rita standing in the dark, and behind her is a clash of lightning. I'm not sure what this could mean, but it could also have something to do with the same scenes, unless of course we are going to get a huge thunderstorm that hits Wentworth and we're going to be getting some natural disaster scenes in these final episodes. Who knows? Anything is possible at this stage. We also have Lou looking up as if she's planning something deadly, and I'm not too sure who that is behind her, but I think it could be Judy. Anyway guys, that is the whole trailer picked apart for you. There were some great clips used in the background of Bea and Frankie, and at one point we did hear Ali screaming out push the panic button, but I believe that was used from season 4. But do you remember when Ali found Bea drowning in the sink and then she screams out push the panic button? I think that's where that was used from. What I loved about this trailer is that Wentworth hasn't forgotten its roots of where it all began. I'm also glad that they didn't reveal too much of the final season, because let's face it guys, I know we're all really excited to see these episodes, but we don't want the whole season ruined, do we? Anyway guys, what did you think of today's trailer? Is there anything that I missed that I didn't include in today's video? And what are your theories on some of the things that we've seen today? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments box below. And on the subject of comments, it's now time for some comment replies. So we have Jordan Rochester. I have a feeling Mari poisons Ruby and Boomer turns bad. Let's face it, with Ali in hospital and Ruby possibly dead by Mari, Boomer will be coming for Mari and Judy. Boomer will be badder this series and I can't wait. Great theory, Jordan. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is gospel, so don't quote me on it, but I think Ali does return back from the hospital in the very first episode in a wheelchair. However, I'm totally with you. I don't think Boomer's going to turn bad, but I do think we're going to see a much tougher side of Boomer this year. And it could mean that Boomer could actually be the saviour by the end of the series, and Boomer could be the one who kills the freak in the final episode. You never know. But a great theory there, Jordan. Thank you for your comment. And we have Andre Alfred. I see Anne hitting Judy with a bat. Maybe Judy confessed that she killed Anne's daughter Charlotte. You could be onto something there, because I mean, Judy is a terrorist, and you never know, she could be the one responsible for that London terrorist attack. That could actually play a massive part this year. Thank you for your comment. Christopher James, is Lou chopping off Ali's fingers? She could be. However, with that image of the guy which looks like Dr. Miller standing next to Ali, I'm not 100% sure, unless Dr. Miller turns out to be a bad guy and starts to work with Lou, which I can't really see happening, but you never know. I do think someone's going to lose some fingers this year when Lou is unleashed. Thank you for your comment, Christopher. And we have Reese Butterworth. This teaser was amazing, but after watching this, I'm really worried for Mari. Susie Porter is an incredible actress, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed Mari makes it to the end, but the clip of her in this teaser has me worried. This final season is going to be brutal. Yes, Reese, it is definitely going to be probably the most brutal season yet. And that's actually saying something, because we've had a lot of brutal scenes over the years. And I have to agree with you, I'm not a massive fan of Mari, but I'm kind of fascinated by her character. And it got me thinking the other day when I was rewatching a few season 8 part 1 episodes. If I was to end up in prison, I wouldn't mind having Mari as a cellmate. Maybe not when she first came into it, but last season, the way she looked after Reb, I could actually see myself buddying up with Mari if I had to. So I kind of get what you mean, but I've got a feeling that this isn't going to be Mari's death scene, because they wouldn't put that in the trailer because it would ruin the surprise. So we might be okay, Reese, I don't know. But anyway, thank you for your comment. And thank you all once again for your amazing comments. Keep them coming, and you never know, maybe next time your comment will get featured in one of my future videos. Right then guys, thank you all for sticking around until the end of the video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe, and I'll see you all again very soon.